So, check this out, people. Today I want to talk about doctors here in the Philippines, right? Please excuse my voice. I'm not feeling too good today. I haven't been feeling good for the past month. And that's one of the reasons why I'm making this video is because for those who watch me, you know I live in the Philippines, right? And one of the difficult things to find here in the Philippines when you're sick is a decent doctor. I mean, there are plenty of decent doctors here in the Philippines. The problem is finding a doctor that can help you with your needs, right? I suffer from a clotting disorder, right? So I'm on blood thinners. I've been on blood thinners since I was 39 years old. And so from the age of 39 till today, some 16 years plus, I've been on blood thinners, right? Now, back home in the US, I visited a specialist every other week, every other month, right, to treat me. And one of the good things about living in America is that when you make a doctor's appointment, you can schedule it for any day of the week, right? Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, sometimes even 6, 7 o'clock, depending on your doctor's office, right? And so I was able to see my doctor when I wanted to and when I needed to, and they were always available, right? Now, here in the Philippines, things are very different. And so I need a specialist, right? I need to see a hematologist. And I recently found out that there are only 120 hematologists here in the Philippines, which is mind boggling, right? Because 120 hematologists is, I mean, that's ridiculous compared to the population, right? And there are people who suffer from heart issues, heart attacks, in my case, blood disorders, more more people than can be handled by these hematologists, right? And so if you need a hematologist here in the Philippines, it's going to be difficult for you to find one depending on where you live. If you live in the Metro Manila area, you're going to find one easily, right? But if you live in a province and that province doesn't have one of the 120 hematologists, then you're pretty much in a problem. And you may have to take a bus some 12, 13, 15, 16, 20 hours to the Metro Manila area just to see a doctor. You got to spend 3, 4 days, maybe a week in a hotel just so that you can have the treatment that you need, right? And if you're an American citizen like I am, right, and you're used to seeing a doctor when you need them, when you want them, you're not going to get that here, unfortunately. Most of the time, you're going to want to see a doctor and you're not going to be able to see him when you want. Most of the time, he's only going to be available 2 days out of the week within a 2 hour window, right? You may be able to see him Wednesday or Thursday between 9 and 11. And most of the time, he's late, which is one of the things that suck here in the Philippines is that you don't always get the care you need when you need it. You get the care you need, you're just not going to get it when you need it. And so I need a hematologist, and I live 2 hours from the Metro Manila area. That's where my hematologist is. I found my hematologist online, right? And so, an amazing hematologist, female in Delgado Hospital, Quezon City, and she's amazing. I just visited her on Thursday, and you know, the only thing that sucks, it was less than a 10-minute visit, maybe like 5 minutes, and I spent the whole day in Manila because it takes 2 hours to get there, right? And so she was so amazing. And so she recommended that I visit a hematologist in my local area. She's the one who told me that there are only 120 hematologists in all of the Philippines. And so she was able to find one in my local area in Cavite and referred me to one in my area. And it may be about an hour away, but that beats 2 hours to the Metro Manila area, right? And so if you're an American and you visit the Philippines, understand that you're not going to get the service you need when you need it. You're not going to be able to see your doctor when you need him. Perfect example. I thought I had a clot in my right arm because it was painful. I couldn't move it for about 2 weeks. I went to see the hematologist. They scheduled me for a ultrasound, and it took 2 weeks from my appointment. Right now, if I did have a clot, it probably would have killed me between the time that I had the pain and the time that I was scheduled to have the procedure done. And that's one of the problems here in the Philippines. If you're an American and you're used to calling 911, there is no 911 here. If you fall down the stairs and break your leg, you have to call an Uber. It's just the way it is. And so if you need emergency services the way I need it to have that ultrasound done right away, you're not going to get it like that. It's not going to happen. And if you're over the age of 50, like I am, most insurance companies will not insure you. I'm lucky if I can find anyone to insure me here in the Philippines. And so most of the time, you're going to have to pay out of pocket, which I don't have a problem doing because most of the time in the US, you can't afford to see a doctor without insurance. But here in the Philippines, you can. My hematologist is only 1,000 pesos per visit, which is $20, less than most co-pays back home in the US. And so if you have issues the way I do, health issues, and you planning on coming to the Philippines, do what I did. First, I visited for about a month. I searched, I had help. I had someone, a local, take me around, help me find a dentist. I was able to have some work done. I went back home for about 3 months, came back, stayed for 2 months. I stayed for an extra month than I did the first time. This person helped me look for a doctor, and I was able to find a doctor who was able to refer me to a hematologist and who was able to give me the advice I needed. Of course, at the time, it was in a province 12 hours away from Manila. And so at that time, I wasn't seeing a hematologist. And I went back home, came back, stayed for 3 months. Each time I returned to the Philippines, I stayed longer and longer. And while here, I did the research before I opted to move here permanently. And so if you want to transition from the US to the Philippines and you want to be a permanent resident here, you want to live here because the cost of living is so much better here compared to back home in the US. But you have health issues, what I recommend is that you visit first, get things together, get yourself established first. Make sure you have a local that can help you visit a doctor. Make sure you're able to find the specialist you need so that once you transition from the US to the Philippines, you know you have someone that can treat your issue before you leave home. Because if you don't do this, you're going to find yourself in a world of hurt and you don't want to die here in a hospital. Okay? Living in the Philippines is amazing, but I don't know about dying here, right? Unless you have someone who's willing to be there for you up until the end. Because I tell you right now, going to visit a doctor here is like going through a maze. If you have insurance, you first have to go to the insurance company in person. You have to get approval. You have to go to the cashier. You have to pay the cashier. You have to see the receptionist. Then you have to see the doctor. It is a mission. It's not straightforward the way it is back home. And so you need a local. You need someone who can help you get through this maze, right? You need someone who's caring enough, who's going to stand by you when you do get sick. You don't want to get sick here and get stranded without someone who you can trust, right? First, you need to find someone you can trust, someone who can help you find the specialist you need. And then once you got yourself established, once you have the doctor you need, the dentist you need, the specialist you need, then you may want to think about transitioning from the US to the Philippines. Until you do that, I don't recommend that if you have health problems that you move to the Philippines without first making sure that you have the ability to see the doctors you need and that these doctors are able to treat whatever condition you may have. Luckily, I'm able to find the hematologist I need, not only in the Metro Manila area, but now in the province that I'm in right now. Only an hour away, not a big deal. I can do that. And I don't have to spend some 12 hours in malls and in walking around and just killing time because it took me 3 hours to get to the Metro Manila area and some 4 or 5 hours to get back because traffic is crazy, right? And so for any man who meets a woman and who wants to transition to the Philippines, if this woman is good to you and she's willing to stand by you and make sure that you're healthy while you're here, make sure you do right by her. Make sure you take care of her just as much as she takes care of you. But if you're with a woman who doesn't understand that you have health issues and she's always frustrated because you're either sleeping too much or because you can't get out of bed or because you can't go out and do things and she's always complaining, she's not the right woman for you because it's only going to get worse. And if you find yourself critical, you're not going to have the support you need. So you have to consider all of these things before you come to the Philippines to move permanently if you have healthcare issues. Luckily, I'm still strong enough where I can do the things I do, but a lot of the times I find myself sleeping for some 12 hours. Sometimes I'll get a cold, I'll get the flu, and I'll be sick for 2 months. It will take me months to recover. That's just part of the issues that, people like me go through. And as long as you have the support, as long as you have the doctors and the specialists that can treat your illness, then you'll be okay. So always remember first do the research, come here, make sure you get yourself established with a good woman, someone who's willing to understand you and willing to be there for you till the end, someone who can take you through the process of making the doctor's appointments, going to the doctors with you, because it really is difficult for someone who doesn't understand how the system works here to get through the system. And so make sure you have these things in order before you transition. And once you do that, transitioning to the Philippines will be an easy process because you'll already have your doctors, you'll already have your dentists, you'll already have your specialists, you know their names, you know their addresses, you know what time they're available, when they're not available. And knowing all of these things in advance will make your life a lot easier. And if you can't handle the way the system works here because it's totally different, then this is what I recommend that you first try it. And if it's something you think you can handle, then you'll be okay. But if not, you're going to find yourself on a plane right back to the US where you're used to being accommodated by doctors, where doctors show up on time, where your appointments are always on time, where you're going to get the treatment you need on time, where they have 911. And if you get hurt, you're able to, get the treatment right away. They don't have these things here. So it's something that you need to get used to. It's not difficult, but it is something that you do have to get used to if you want to make it here in the Philippines with an illness like I've I've had to. Now, I've been here for over a year. So far, I've been okay. My doctors have been amazing. They know about my illness. They know about the medications I need. These guys are pros, and they definitely know what they're doing and what they're talking about. It's no different from my doctors back home. It's just getting them when I need them. My doctor's only available 2 days a week for 2 hours. So if I can't see her on a Wednesday or Thursday, that's the only time she's available. And if I can't see her between the hours of 9 and 11, that's the only time she's available, then I won't be able to see her. That's just the way it works here. So remember these things. Set yourself up first before you get here. And then once you do, you'll be able to know whether or not this is something you can do with an illness, living with an illness as an American here in the Philippines. I don't see why you can't, unless it's something where you can't find the specialist you need, then it will be difficult. Luckily, my illness is something that I'm able to find a specialist, even though there's only 120 of them, but that's better than just 10 of them. And so, you know, I'm able to travel to Manila. This one here an hour away, and I'm able to do it. So just keep this in mind, and as long as you are aware of these things, then I'm sure you'll be okay. And as long as you have a good woman who can stand by you, you definitely make it. Thanks for watching, people. I hope everything is okay with anyone considering coming to the Philippines who is ill. You can do it. It's not that hard. I've done it. It's only a different process, one that you have to get used to. And once you do, I think everything will be okay. Thanks for watching, people.